Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Hello and welcome to this week's Attacking Football podcast. We are doing our next episode, How to Fix a Problem Like, and we're doing Crystal Palace this week. We have a very special guest, but first, rejoining us again after a little absence, Alex. How you doing, mate? Welcome.
I know, it's felt like forever since I was last on. Honestly, it's felt like a whole year has passed. I know, but it's good to be back. It's always good to be back.
You've been too busy presenting for other channels and changing your names.
I know, but my loyalties never change. Forever in love with attacking football.
Okay. Joining us also is our regular guest, Scott. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, yeah. How are you?
Get in there, mate. Excited for the Euros to start next week. We're nearly there. No football for about 3 weeks is doing my head in. As ever, we're joined in the studio by the voice from above, producer Alfie. Alfie, welcome, mate.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, cool. And right, our special guest, our Crystal Palace fan, Seb Foot on Twitter. Is it Seb Foot on Twitter, F-U-T?
It is, yeah.
Seb, welcome, mate. I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It is a shame that you couldn't find any other Palace fans, but I'm very happy to be here.
We did ask, but, you know.
It's all right. Scraping the barrel, I see how it is.
Mate, don't sell yourself short. You were the very first person that we came to for Crystal Palace. We really appreciate you being here. Seb.
Yeah.
Seen the show before.
Yeah.
You know what we're going to do. We're going to go straight into the squad builder, right? We're giving you the keys to Selhurst Park.
Yeah. It's a risky move, but yeah.
Mate, they're your keys. You do what you like with them. We're going to go through the full squad.
Yeah.
You're going to tell us whether you want to keep them, whether you want to sell them, whether you want to send them out on loan, and then we're going to go through some transfer targets, and we'll put your full squad up at the end on the screen. Okay. So we're going to start with the goalkeepers. Very helpfully, our graphics department has sent me over a sneak preview of the graphics, so I can start with that. So, Dean Henderson.
Dean Henderson's definitely a keep. If I'm honest, at the start of the year, last summer, I didn't think we needed a new number one. Johnston was fine. Johnston was doing well. But at kind of the back end of this season, Dean Henderson has shown probably another level. And if I'm honest, I don't think a club like Palace spends 20 million on a keeper if he's not the number one. So,
even if it's not on the back of his shirt.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Sam Johnston, he's next. You've got two first-team goalkeepers at the club. What do you do with him?
I mean, in an ideal world, I think I'd like to keep him. Because like having two England number threes, number fours, whatever you want to call them, is a very good thing. But I think realistically, I think one of the keepers has to go because both of them are too good to be sitting around on the bench. So I would say that Johnston probably goes, but in an ideal world, I'd like him to stay. It
is your club, your key. Are you keeping him, or are you going? No, mate. You've got to look for first team football elsewhere.
I'll keep him. I'll keep him.
Good. That's the correct answer. Okay. Remy Matthews. Great last name.
Remy Matthews stays. Realistically, you just need from a third goalkeeper. You just need good vibes, and Remy Matthews is good vibes.
Yeah, okay. All right, Joe Whitworth.
Loan. Joe Whitworth he's been in need of a loan for a couple of years, really.
I don't know much about him, I'll be honest. Is he a young player? Is he an academy player?
But he's an academy keeper. He was in the England setup. And him and Goodman have always been in the England setup and the Palace setup. And Goodman got a loan last year, did really well. Whitworth didn't get a loan because we didn't have enough keepers and basically we couldn't go.
Right.
But Whitworth needs a loan, probably to a League One club.
Okay, good chat. Into the defence, we are going to start with, is Nathaniel Klein?
Yeah, so Klein's just signed a new contract, so he stays. If I'm honest, I didn't...
Not at your club, he hasn't.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I didn't think he would stay. But he has been very good, so yeah, you can't really go wrong with having Klein around.
If you were in charge, would you have given him the new contract?
Yeah, I probably would have. He's been very good at the back end of the season, so yeah, I probably would have.
I think you need an experienced head like that in the side as well. Okay. Joel Ward.
Joel Ward stays. Club legend.
Okay, cool. Ferguson.
Ferguson goes. He's had
Really?
too many. Yeah, he's had too many injuries. I think he actually has been released anyway. But yeah, I'd love it to work out, and he looked or should have been so good, but it's just one of those things. Injuries caught up to him.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't keep him.
Chris Richards.
He stays. Underrated defender.
Joachim Anderson.
Oh, yeah, stays. Definitely stays.
I don't. Oh, yeah.
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 Can you actually keep hold of him this summer? Because there's a chance he goes somewhere else anyway.
Who's sniffing around him?
Newcastle were last
Newcastle,
summer.
Yeah.
Oh, were they? They've
Yeah.
just signed Lloyd Kelly though, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So might have called their interest a little bit.
No, I reckon Anderson stays.
Okay. Mark Gahey.
See, I would love to say stay, but I also think that we need money to spend this summer. And I think Gahey is more replaceable than some of the other names in our squad. And he's about to get starts of the Euros, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if I'm honest, I think he's going to do really well at the Euros, and I think he'll show that he's Champions League quality, which he is. And I personally think that we need one to go, so he would probably be the one.
He's a football manager legend as well. For any FM listeners, like honestly, every time I sign him on any save, he performs. So if he's anything like, he's very highly rated. I haven't watched enough of him. But do you think he could do it at United? He could do it at Liverpool?
Yeah.
He's really strongly linked to. Could he?
Gay's one of those players who makes the game look so simple and never makes a mistake. Obviously, people have this thing about him being small. He's never had any problems with it. And he reads the game better than any defender I've ever seen at Palace. So, yeah, Gay could easily do it.
You can make up for height. Like, as a United fan, I'm going to point to Lisandro Martinez, but like everyone points about his height, but he reads the game really well.
Yeah.
He's actually very underrated in the air as well. So height isn't the be all and end all for a centre back.
Yeah.
How tall is
Agreed.
he? Is he 6 foot?
Yeah, he thinks he's 6 foot.
isn't he?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you have players like Thiago Silva who are 6 foot and they're like
Yeah,
world class.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think Vidic was 6 foot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know.
Okay. Rob Holding.
Rob Holding stays. He's a good backup.
Okay. Tarek Mitchell.
Mitchell definitely stays. Mitchell's shown another level to his game at the back end of this season that we kind of didn't really know he had. He's never really been asked to go forward. He's never really been asked to like work in the final third. And obviously under Glasner, he's forced to do that. But yeah, he's improving constantly, Mitchell. So yeah, stays.
I think I had him in my fantasy team. I think.
Yeah.
And I think he did quite well actually.
For next season, go for either Mitchell or Munoz. I promise you, one of them will be returning very highly.
So
Munoz could have had about 8 goals, like in the back end of the season.
Daniel
yeah,
is our next one.
Yeah, he stays.
Yeah. I mean, with words like that, he was never going anywhere, was he?
he kind of came out of nowhere. I don't remember seeing him. Did he only join in the summer?
He joined in January.
In January?
We got him for about 8 million. But to be honest, I don't think we actually would have been able to play the Glasner system without Munoz.
Yeah, he kind of just
Is that
came.
important?
Yeah. In terms of his energy, like our fullbacks before, like no disrespect to them, were Klein and Ward.
Yeah.
Neither of them can do right wing back shifts. Munoz just brought another level, and his energy is better than anyone in our whole team.
Do you reckon that's one of like the biggest changes Glasner's brought, like making the fullbacks a lot more prominent in the game? Like we look at Arsenal, we look at City as well, making their fullbacks so important to how football's being played. And has Glasner's brought the same thing?
Exactly that. Like if you look at the pitch when we play, every single player is over the half that the ball's in, except the wing back, and you need those players in order for the system to work.
You signed him from Genk. Okay. I didn't realise he came suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
Did he come in January?
It was in January,
Yeah.
Yeah, 16 appearances. Okay. Keep an eye out for him then.
Yeah.
Okay.
For fantasy next year, Daniel Munoz is the one.
Okay, FPL listeners, keep an eye out. Closing out your defenders then. So we've got James Tompkins.
Yeah, Tompkins will go, and to be honest, the bloke's he's done really well in his Palace career, but there's a point when you lose your legs, and Tompkins has lost his legs. And he's also on probably bigger wages than he should be. So yeah, Tompkins goes.
Okay. Your official club website has a few players listed as midfielders that we don't think are midfielders, and we're just taking them.
Yeah. Go for it.
Jefferson Lerma.
As in, you don't think he's a midfielder?
No, as in, I'm going through your club's website and I'm skipping.
Oh, I see. Right. I was going to say he has played centre back. That's why I say that.
Yeah.
No, Lerma definitely stays. Lerma was arguably our player of the year last season. Mateta won it, but to be honest, if you based on consistency throughout the whole season, it's Lerma.
Okay. Right. There's going to be some conversation about this one. Eze.
He stays.
Yeah.
That's not. Stays.
Is that your heart telling you that, or is that your brain telling you that? Because there's a very different answer to both.
Okay. No, I think both is telling me that Eze stays.
No, seriously, because Spurs are sniffing around him.
I know, but I also don't think Daniel Levy will get the cash out his pocket. He likes his money, so.
It came out the other day. Doesn't he have a release clause? I think it's 85 million or 60 million.
No, 60 million. 60 million with 8 million on add-ons.
Oh,
yeah. If I'm honest, I think if it was any other club than Spurs, I'd be more worried. But I don't think Spurs will pay the money. And also, I would also be more worried if we hadn't ended the season how we did under Glasner.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Eze stays.
Jeffrey Schlupp.
Oh, Schlupp's a controversial one in where I sit at the ground. Schlupp's a controversial one. Some people love him. Other people don't like him so much.
Okay.
He's been a very good servant, but if it was me, Schlupp goes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very versatile, but that's, to be honest, about all he does.
Right. Next on our list is he was the victim of a savage assault from Casemiro. Is Will Hughes.
Hughesy stays. Hughesy definitely stays. Yeah.
Okay. Another one that the market is absolutely raving over at the moment is Adam Wharton.
Yeah. Stays, and to be honest, this summer I wouldn't take less than 100 million for him.
100
Seriously?
million.
Oh.
Yeah, he's only just joined. Why would we let him go now? I promise you.
100 million.
I promise you, Wharton will be our biggest ever sale.
So say Todd Bowley comes out right now with £100 million checkbook and throws it in front. No, let's say £90 million checkbook, throws it in front of you. You'd say no to that.
All right, let's say close to it. Let's say close.
I'm so sorry. That is ludicrous to turn down. That is silly.
Okay, there was talk of like Bayern paying 60. I wouldn't take 60. Let's say that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
When Polini's being quoted of being 60 million, Wharton's worth more than that.
Yeah. Well, I said this to my dad. I think Wharton will be our biggest ever sale. Yeah.
I think he's gonna go this summer. I'll be honest. I think if he has
Wharton?
I think if he has a decent Euros, I think someone is gonna come knocking on the door for him.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but also, I don't. To be honest, I don't see him playing enough in the Euros.
Yeah.
I would love him to play, and I would love for Southgate to take that risk, but based on the reports of it being Trent and stuff starting, I just. Sadly, I don't see Wharton playing, and in a way that maybe is a good thing for us.
Okay. I mean, the less he plays, the more likely he is to stay, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, Check Decore.
Stays. We've actually, under Vieira, he ran a 3-man midfield on his own. Yeah, definitely stays. Him and Wharton next season should be unbelievable.
Okay. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Is it
Nauru Hamada? Yeah. Nauru
Hamada. I saw the first bit and went, aha.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything after that.
He would be a player I'd loan, to be honest. He needs minutes. He was a first-team regular at Stuttgart and never really has had a chance under us.
Okay.
Yeah, I would loan him.
Okay. Jack Wells Morrison.
Needs a loan. He's been in the 21 setup since he was like 15, and for some reason hasn't ever been given a loan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Gyro Riedwald? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Riedwald. He'll leave.
Leave. Okay.
Yeah.
We have Caden Rodney.
I would say loan, but I would imagine he stays around the 21s.
David Ozo.
David Ozo, yeah. He
Okay.
definitely needs a loan. He'll get a championship loan this summer. And he's very, very good.
One to watch.
Yeah, he's like a 6'4" beast of a player. But yeah, he's probably not quite ready to play in the Premier.
A bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Jaden Raymond.
I would loan him, but I think he'll end up leaving. There was talk of him going to Portsmouth, so.
Okay. Wouldn't be a bad move.
No, yeah, it's a good move.
Online, it wouldn't be a bad move. Maturin.
Yeah, he needs a loan. He had a really good season last year. Only joined us from Spurs, or he was released by Spurs, then joined us. Yeah, he needs a loan. But the thing with all these under-21s is there's only so many under-21s you can loan without having a bare bones under-21 squad. So how many of them are realistic? I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, you have some serious depth in midfield. I think this is the largest midfield we've done in any segment so far. There's quite a few of them. You're collecting them like infinity stones. So, okay. Let's move into the forwards then. So, I think there's only one place that we can really start, isn't there?
Let's please not.
Do you want to leave this one to the end? Should we skip him and come back to it?
Yeah, let's go for both of the two big guns at the end.
Okay. Let's do Jordan Ayew.
Stays for squad depth.
Yeah, you're not starting?
No, it doesn't start. I think eventually, to be honest, the club need to move on from Jordan Ayew, but I think one more year stay.
How long has he been at the club now? It feels like an eternity. I can't picture him playing anywhere else.
He joined us from Swansea when Roy was first here, so
Seriously?
I would say, if I was to guess, I would say he joined in like 2014 probably.
Yeah.
I would say 10 years. Jordan Ayew is probably about right.
Testimonial time.
Yeah.
He scored some decent goals for you.
Yeah, he has. The one against West Ham, which I always see on Twitter. That one was an unbelievable goal. He's another player though who just works his socks off, but it just isn't good enough in the final third.
Not consistent enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Oliveira.
Who?
Matthias Franca de Oliveira.
Oh, Matthias Franca.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
No, that's fair. I would say stay. He did actually look very good. The times he did come on, never really got a chance and then got injured. It's fair to say Roy wasn't very good to our youth players.
No. Okay, fine. But to be fair, it's a long time since Roy saw anything that was youthful.
Yeah, true. Just sees Will Hughes, and he's there every week.
Yeah.
He's playing up front in the number 10. You name it.
Do you know? I think Will Hughes did play number 10 for quite a while, didn't he?
Played number 10 under Roy for like probably 5 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it was quite depressing. As much as I love Hughes,
Mate, don't forget, there's 3 Man United fans in this call, and we all watched Ten Hag play Weghorst at number 10 and Scott McTominay at number 10. We feel your pain, my friend.
True. And you did lose 4-0 to us this season. So yeah,
we did. That is true. Okay. Edward.
I would sell. I think
Really?
I think with Edward, you'll never we paid something like 15 million for him. He's not really cut it. Granted, I don't necessarily think we've ever played to his strengths, and we've never really given him a full run of games. But
he came in on fire though. Like from Celtic, I remember you've seen all those compilations on Twitter, on Instagram. He was a monster. I thought you lot have got a steal with him.
Yeah, so did I. But he's just never really hit it off, other than that first couple of months. In fact, it was first few games really.
Just sort of fell off the cliff a little bit.
Yeah,
I stuck him in my fantasy team last year at the beginning of the year, And to be fair, I didn't really do a lot with it, so we kind of stayed in there for the season. He didn't do well.
Yeah.
I think out of the strikers, he's probably your most sellable as well, that you wanted to sell.
He's going to be the one that we get the most value back from without selling Mateta. So I would sell Edward.
Okay. Well, you asked to leave the big two for the end. So we're gonna start with Mateta.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Is that one of the big two? Oh, yeah.
Well, who did you think the big two?
No, we've already done Eze. That's why.
We've done Eze, yeah.
Okay. No, Mateta 100% stays. Mateta was a different machine under Glasner.
Yeah.
I just really hope that he can maintain it and it wasn't a purple patch.
Yeah.
Is he the most improved player under Glasner, do you reckon?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, definitely.
Is it?
Either...
Do you reckon it's the system that's played to his strengths more? Do you reckon it's just the way Glasner coaches him, or do you think it's a mix of both?
I think it's a mix of both, and I also think it's a confidence thing.
Yeah. Is he a confidence player? Like, he needs that sort of trust in a striker.
Yeah, both him and Edward are very much confidence-based. And yeah, the moment he got that first goal under Glasner, and then... Well, not the first goal that we scored under Glasner, but his first goal, he then suddenly had a bit of confidence and he was scoring goals.
Started to tear Johnny Evans to shreds.
Exactly.
That poor man. Didn't even pass the fitness stuff, did he?
With respect to Johnny Evans and Johnny, but if you're watching, sorry, quite a few people tore him to shreds last season, mostly himself. Right, we've got to do ELISE. We have to do ELISE now. Now.
And the issue is there's United fans in it.
There's 3 United fans here and 1 Liverpool fan. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and tactically Matt, who we had on our podcast not so long ago, says that he has agreed personal terms with Chelsea.
Yeah, he has.
A Palace source also came out to say that it's not true.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
We haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. I saw it. I think it's the Palace way. They released the thing to say he hasn't. But yeah.
Alfie, while we're talking, can you have a look into that?
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I'm honest, if it's United and Chelsea, that if they're the only clubs that are in for him, I don't think he goes.
Really? He's a boyhood United fan.
And?
To be fair, at the moment, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I just think... before Glasner, I think he's gone, no matter what. But I think Glasner probably gives him a new lease of life at Palace. But the thing I would say is if Liverpool, City, Arsenal, PSG, Real Madrid, Barca, Bayern, someone like that come in, then I think he goes because he obviously wants Champions League football.
Yeah.
But if it's just United and Chelsea, I'm a little bit more confident that he stays. But again, I'm more worried about Chelsea than I am United.
How far the great clubs have fallen that you're sitting there and saying, if they come in for a goal, not worried, he'll stay.
It's true. And probably what will happen now is he'll end up going and I'll look like an idiot. But
mate, that's the thing with YouTube. YouTube is forever.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued, mate. You said about Europe, and I think one of the things for ELISE is, do you think if he thinks that Palace can make an actual push at Europe next year, he's more inclined to stay? Do you reckon he's almost waiting a little bit to see investment into the club and maybe see there's a team which, like Villa have in recent years, like Newcastle have, an actual push?
I definitely think I think if we don't show any ambition at all, then he will go.
Do you think this core team could push for Europe, or do you need proper investment?
Oh, I really hate saying it, but yeah, I do think we could push
Seriously.
it.
Under Glasner as well.
Yeah, I hate saying it because I'm a Palace fan and everything seems to bite us on the arse. But no, I do think that we could. Yeah, I do. I think Conference League is probably as high as we'll go, but who knows based off last season.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, the Conference League is nothing to be sniffed at. Look at West Ham; they went and won it, and big.
I want to go to Europe to follow Palace once in my lifetime. That's all I want. So.
Well, you're still young, mate. There's still plenty of time. Plenty of time. Okay. You haven't given us an answer. You're the boss. Are you selling him to fund moves for other players, or are you keeping him?
No, I keep him. You're
keeping him.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the squad. We are going to throw up the list of people that you've sold on the screen now. Now, there are some holes in your squad, Seb, that we need to fill.
Yep.
Right? Alfie is beavering away to send that list to me now. So let's have a look at who you need to replace. So you've got 3 goalkeepers. We're all good there. You've kept Johnson, Matthew, and Whitworth.
Yep.
You've sold...
Whitworth's loan, isn't he?
Sorry, Henderson, Johnston, and Matthews. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Whitworth has gone out. You've kept Fine, Ward, Richards, Anderson, Holding, Mitchell, and Munoz. You sold Tompkins and Gahey and Ferguson. So we need a central defender, I think.
Yep.
Do you think you need a starting centre-back, or do you think you need a covering centre?
I think that if Gahey goes, we need a starting centre-back.
Okay.
The one that was linked a fair bit was Lacroix from Wolfsburg.
Okay.
And the other one that we're supposedly getting, which apparently is all but done, is Chadi Riyad from Betis. So, yeah, they would be the two.
Okay. That's a great shout. He's quick, right?
Yeah, left-footed centre-back as well, something we don't have.
Okay.
But my other shout on top of that is if I would also bring in Ronnie Edwards.
Ronnie Edwards?
Oh,
From
yes.
Peterborough.
Oh, Peterborough. Yeah, no, he's supposed to be excellent. That is a very Dougie Friedman signing, actually.
Yeah. We've been linked in previous windows as well. Apparently we tried in January, but
Again, any FM listeners, you all know how good Ronnie Edwards is. He's fantastic. Do you reckon that's a reasonable shout of you getting him?
What, Ronnie Edwards?
Yeah.
I would say if we went for him, yeah, definitely.
What kind of fee are you looking at there?
I mean, Peterborough League One, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
So,
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fetching more than what?
Probably like, what, 5?
Yeah, that's what I was
million?
thinking.
But I know that before they turned down something around like 5 or 8 or something like that. But I think they were Championship at the time or higher up in League One. So, yeah, I would say 5 roughly. But
Okay. So is that who you're going with? You're going with Ronnie Edwards as your pick from those 3 that you...
I would go with Chadi Riyad and Ronnie Edwards probably. Yeah.
So you're bringing in 2
Lacroix is probably more expensive.
Okay. Riyad and Edwards are going into the squad. In midfield, we've got Doucouré, Lerma, Wharton, Hughes, Eze, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
we probably need like one sort of squad, almost like a squad midfielder, because Lerma can cover loads of other positions as well.
Yeah.
Hughes obviously Lerma would be the backup, then Hughes, then I think that's it, right? Other than Doucouré, Wharton starting.
Other than Doucouré, yeah.
Yeah, so we probably need one kind of backup. Who would that be?
I don't have a name on the top of my head, but you know how Luton got Ross Barkley?
Yeah.
It's sort of signing like that. I think could be a smart free agent sort of deal. It'd be perfect for you lot.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, actually, I know the one who I've seen us linked with, Josh Brownhill.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
He would probably do the job as a backup centre midfielder. So yeah, I'll do that.
One of the Longstaff boys from Newcastle would be a great signing for you as well.
Yeah, he wouldn't be bad, but I also don't think he'd come to us because he wouldn't start.
Well, that's why I think he would. Because he's quite happy to sit there, but then he's a Geordie boy, isn't he? So he's quite happy.
Yeah,
to sit
he loves the club.
at his hometown club and sit on the bench. So maybe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So up front, you've only got 4.
Yeah, but I would also count Eze as one of the front 3. So the front 3 would still be Eze, Mateta, Olise. But we're supposedly bringing in Kamada. And I do also think that we need another right winger. So the one I'd bring in is Matthias Sule from Juventus. and then when Elise goes next summer, then he can then step in.
I see. So you are going to let him go eventually.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Elise goes no matter what next summer.
Okay, so you're bringing in Sule as well. So you've kept Ayu, you've kept Elise, you've sold Edouard, you've kept Franca, and you've kept Mateta.
Yeah.
You've brought in Sule. That's 5, and then you've got Eze, I suppose, is the 6th.
Yeah.
Eze can play anywhere, really. He can play on the left and right as well, can't he?
Yeah. I think we do also need a backup striker. And the report on that earlier in the window said something about bringing in a young striker. So I don't really know who that is, but yeah. I do think we need a backup to Mateta because Ayu isn't really a number 9.
Oh, Jay, do you know Jay Stansfield out of Fulham? He was on loan at Blues last year. He looks really good.
Yeah,
he could be a good little young backup
I watched
striker
him in one game because my mate's a Birmingham fan. And yeah, he was good. But
he looks alright.
I don't know.
He
I don't know.
wouldn't be a lot as well.
I wonder if a player like Eddie Nketiah would be happy to go to Palace, knowing that he'd start off behind Mateta.
I can't imagine he would. No. Well, I would take Nketiah, but I don't think he would want to be a backup to Mateta when he could go and start at a club like West Ham, for example. Or...
Well, he's linked with Everton.
Yeah, there you go.
To be a backup for Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
They've also been linked with Broja.
They have been with Broja as well,
Yeah, but have Everton got cash? I don't know.
Well, no, we know that they don't. We know that they desperately need to sell before June the 30th, or they're facing another points deduction next season.
Yeah.
So they're in a little bit of trouble. But I think they're going to operate quite heavily in the loan market. And again, I think there are probably some loan deals out there for you to do as well.
Yeah. We didn't, to be honest, we needed a lone winger last summer and in January when both Elise and Eze were injured, and then we had Franca was injured. Raksaki wasn't on your list actually; he was also injured. I would loan him.
Add him to the list, Alfie.
Exactly.
But yeah, we needed a winger on loan last summer. We didn't get one, but I don't really see where we need a loan now.
No.
The one position I would also add to my squad is I think we need a left wing back as a backup to Mitchell. So I saw us linked to Ryan Sessegnon. I quite like that.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice shout.
Yeah, I'd take that.
I mean, he's not really doing much at the moment, is he?
He's a free agent, isn't he?
Yeah.
Spends most of his time in a physio room, I think. But I would probably take him.
Mate, if you're a left back at any Premier League club, you have to be injured almost always. It's
true.
Kind of an unwritten rule. I don't think there are any fit left backs in the country at the moment, to be fair.
Well, Tyreek Mitchell was, but Gareth Southgate's looked over him. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I would have taken him. I would not have, and this is going to be an aside, and Alfie, you can leave this in the podcast, I don't care. Big Man United fan, as everybody knows, I would not have taken Luke Shaw. Never in a million years.
No, it made no sense.
I would not be playing fucking Trippier at left back in a million years. I think you need a dedicated left back to be playing, a natural left back to be playing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the best of everybody available.
And I think also taking Shaw's a massive risk because if he isn't fit for that second or third game, whatever they're saying, and then you're playing Trippier at left back that whole time, and that's not really ideal.
The bigger risk is that he is fit for that second or third game and then aggravates that injury again.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true.
It's look, we could do this all day, and I'm sure we can invite you back to another podcast on the Euros. But I think that's your squad, mate. I think that's your squad.
I'm happy with that.
So, Alfie, if you pop that up on the screen, we can have a look at Seb's final squad, and we're going to move on to section 2, which is the management.
Wow, is that only section 1?
Yeah, that's section 1.
What was I talking too much there or something?
No. You're good.
So next up, we're going to be talking about the management. I kind of just wanted to start off about Glasner because the job he's done. So in this part, you are the Crystal Palace board now. You've just made your signings. You're the board now. How happy are you the job of that Glasner has done since bringing him in?
I mean, buzzing because for years we've had managers that just suck the life out of the club, and the moment Glasner came in, he was refreshing in interviews. Forget on the pitch where obviously we've been unbelievable. yeah, like I mean, even just off the pitch, he says the right things. He's doing the right things in interviews, and yeah, I mean, I genuinely don't think you can ask more of a manager.
It must be a good feeling to know that the board have got him in, and then like after like 4 months, Bayern Munich have come to try get him, and he's turned them down to stay at Palace.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, that was also weirdly perfect timing to bring him in as well, because you look at clubs who are trying to get managers this summer. You know, Chelsea, Brighton, Bayern. I think Juve were getting a new manager.
Barca.
Yeah, Barca. And I Glasner could have gone to any of them.
Yeah.
I hate the fact I've said Brighton in that, but yeah.
You feel like there's a change in the you say you go every week. Do you reckon like Selhurst Park's been lifted a little bit? Is it a little bit louder now that Glasner's in charge?
Massively.
Seriously.
At the end of, to be honest, I say at the end of Roy, no one really wanted Roy to stay this season. You know, everyone appreciated that he had a good back end of last season, but the club needed to move on at some point. And you could feel that in the stands. You know, there was a bit of like, why we're still here. We're not moving anywhere. We're not showing any ambition.
Bit of angst, a little bit of stress. Yeah.
So yeah, like the moment Glasner came in and the mood around like the away ends, the home ends just lifted. And yeah, I mean, Wolves away at the back end of last season was one of the best away ends I've ever been in. So
like when you lot beat us 4-0, you lot were loud.
Yeah.
You lot were loud. Like that's one of the most
how,
impressive crowds I've seen this year.
That's how Selhurst should be. And Selhurst is only like that if the club also. I feel like we were taken for granted when they reappointed Roy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Glasner's just brought a brand new fresh air into the club and yeah, lifted everyone again. So yeah, very needed.
So, before you joined the call, we were looking at your league positions since you were promoted to the Premier League in.
There's not much to look at.
So there's a meme, isn't there? Is where a Palace finish the season? It's 11th. It's always 11th. It's just 11th. Right?
11th to 14th. Yeah.
Yeah. So your league positions since you joined the Premier League in 13-14 are 11-10, 15-14, 11-12, 14-14, 12, 11-10. So there's progression over the last 3 years, but your managers are more interested in that period.
Yeah.
While we're talking about Glasner, he's a very progressive, very emotive manager. And your managerial history reads like a who's who of the boring club. It's Tony Pulis, Alan Pardew, Sam Allardyce, Roy Hodgson for a million years, Patrick Vieira, Roy Hodgson again, and now we've got Glasner.
Has Warnock ever managed Palace?
Yeah, he has.
Makes sense.
Warnock managed us in the Championship.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Ian Holloway's another one.
Ian Holloway got you promoted.
Yeah. I mean, you go for the only one who really hasn't is David Moyes. So
he's up next.
He's up next at some point. But yeah, our managers we go in cycles. We appoint someone, we change, we then reappoint that same someone. It's a bit like the right backs. We went from Klein to Ward to Wan-Bissaka to Ward to Klein. Our club seems to move in cycles. Hopefully until now.
So you are the board and you're looking at those historical league positions. July 1st comes around, pre-season started. What do you go to Glasner and say, these are our ambitions for this season? What do you tell him?
I don't think they tell him anything. They ask him what his ambitions are. And they say, okay, we'll back it.
Oh, that's refreshing.
Yeah. I think that if the board were to set expectations and say this is what you need to do, they're taking Glasner for granted. And I don't think that they will do that. I think that they've learnt of previous mistakes, like under Vieira's second season, when they didn't invest in the squad, they didn't really back the manager at all. I think that they'll have to basically just listen to Glasner and back him. Otherwise, he'll just go to a club like Bayern.
Okay.
Yeah. So Palace have kind of been like extremely good in the transfer market recently. How big was it that Dougie Friedman turned down Newcastle?
Massive. Probably the biggest thing that could have happened to us this summer. I mean, our record under Friedman has been very, very good, and there's a reason that other clubs are sniffing around him. And from every like player interview, when Eze first joined Palace, he said Friedman sold him it and within minutes, and he wanted to join. And Wharton also, there was an article that came out last week that said something about Friedman showed Wharton a progression plan, and that instantly sold him. And I think Friedman is the single most important person at Palace.
Wow, more than Glasner.
I think managers come and go. Friedman has a history of coming and going, but hopefully
Didn't you sack him?
No, he left us for Bolton when we were about to go up.
I suppose though, as the sporting director, he's probably the one who probably convinced Glasner to come as well.
Yeah. Supposedly Friedman was one of the key people in that.
So he was spotted having dinner with Sir Alex Ferguson recently at a private members club, which for our producer Alfie is not a strip club. A private, not a strip club. And obviously the rumor mill went into overdrive. If he leaves Crystal Palace, which obviously you don't want him to, where do you think he goes?
I would say United is a good shout, but I'm guessing here. Didn't he already turn United down this last summer? Well, I mean, he signed a new deal, but
yeah, I was about to say, didn't he sign a new deal after he turned down Newcastle?
He just signed a new deal, so he's not going to go anywhere right now. But to be honest, I would say Man United is a very big option because I think he used to be neighbours with Sir Alex Ferguson or something like that, and they're somehow mates. And obviously he persuaded Alex Ferguson to buy Zaha. That
went well.
I think. Yeah. Well, that's not Friedman's fault. That's United's fault. I would say of anywhere, United is probably one of them that he would go to. But yeah.
Okay.
I want to move on to John Textor. I don't really know much about him, but he's partial owner at Palace and he's looking to buy Everton. What is like the general feeling amongst Palace fans about him?
About John Textor?
Yeah.
Or John Textor, when he first came in, was quite controversial. The Honesdale Fanatics put up because he wanted to put the Eagle Football, which owns the club, on the stock exchange. Palace fans were very against that. And the HF, the Ultras group, put up banners basically saying, Textor, we don't trust you. Things like that. But on the Everton thing, I don't think any Palace fan is surprised because he said for a little while that if he can't buy a majority in Palace and have a say in everything that goes on, then he doesn't want to be involved. So, I don't think anyone's really surprised that he's going. I mean, good luck to him. He hasn't really done a lot for us other than the first year that he invested money. He's got this, obviously, network of football clubs, but Palace have never seen any rewards of it. So I don't really know what we're missing out on.
Has he officially put his shares on the market?
Onto the stock market, or as in selling his Palace shares?
As in selling his Palace shares, yeah.
I think he said publicly that he wants to, yeah.
I think he has to sell them in order to purchase Everton.
Oh, well, you have to. But, I mean, there's a £400 million bid that's gone in the last couple of days from Saudi for Everton. And the guy, is it Richard Dell from Dell Computers, the billionaire? He's also attempting to buy Everton, but this is not an Everton podcast. It's just I don't think he'll get involved in Everton.
No, I agree, but I think he will get involved in one Premier League club at some point. There was also an article that said he was looking at a few Championship clubs as well, but we'll see.
Okay.
Do you lads have any other questions about management?
Not in particular.
No, I think. Do you know what? For the first time in a really long time, I think Crystal Palace are probably in a really, really good place in terms of the coaching staff, in terms of the backroom staff, in terms of the technical staff. Dougie being one of those. Yeah. I don't think you've had some dodgy owners in the last 20 years. One of them works for TalkSport and is a bit of a twat.
And he acts as if he didn't do anything wrong and was a wonderful owner. But yeah, we move on from him.
Yes. I think you're probably in a position where you can really, really push forward as a club.
Yeah. It's the first time that Palace fans have really felt a positivity around the management and things like that. yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that we've ended up with Glasner, if I'm honest, because
Yeah.
other clubs can't seem to get a manager to save their life.
No, I think I turned down Bayern this summer. Scott, did you turn down Bayern?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah. Seb, did you turn down Bayern as well?
No, I turned down Brighton.
Ah, right.
They've gone with
They
a
just sound so similar.
31-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, mate. I think you have successfully fixed Crystal Palace. I don't
Thanks.
think there was a lot of fixing to do, but
No,
what was
probably
fixing? What
the
needed
worst
fixing,
time
you've
to
done
fix
it.
up.
Just a bit of duct tape. Just a bit of duct tape over a couple of cracks. That was
Yeah,
about it.
exactly.
That's it. And listen, don't shit on our premise. It works. Yeah, there's just one thing left to do, and that's put you to the fans Q&A. So, Alfie, you've got some questions from Twitter. We have put out a tweet asking for some questions for you. Alfie's gone and curated a few of them, and he's going to run through them with you now.
Yep. So first of all, this is from @Dylan McBennett7, and he said, "Is there a pain at Crystal Palace that the final destination of some of the world-class players that come through the club will never be at Selhurst Park?"
Good question.
I think that's damping the
Dylan.
spirits a little bit.
Wow.
That is a great question though. Is there a pain that we're not the final destination? No, I just think there's a reality that I mean, who knows, but I don't think we're ever really going to be the final destination. Yeah, I don't think there's really any pain. We just know where we stand in the food chain.
Yeah, moving on. This is from @Harvey on the ball. He said, "With Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace, do you think the Eagles can finally get over the slump of mid-table and potentially push the European football in the next few seasons?"
I think if anyone can, Glasner can, particularly based off last season. And we've seen, Villa when they had, obviously they've got more money than us, but yeah, I mean, under Emery, when they went on a really good run, and then the next season they had a good season. So hopefully we follow that trend.
Yeah. I think we've just discussed this really. @Ellis Hammond 288, he said, "How important do you think Dougie Freedman is to Palace? Do you think Palace will be able to get a replacement if he leaves and when he leaves in the future?"
I mean, when he leaves in the future is very different to like getting a replacement now. I think if he'd left this summer, we would have struggled.
Yeah.
But I think knowing that other clubs are sniffing round and probably will do for the foreseeable future, as long as he continues up his good record, I would hope that they've got some sort of contingency plan in place, but who knows with Palace.
Next, @Gonfall and he said, "How do you see the development of the squad moving forward with likely high-profile sales? What do you see as a good summer in order for Glasner to continue the impressive progression?"
I mean, I hope there's no high profile sales, but I mean, I think that we all know that those sales are coming, whether it be this year, next year, whatever. You just have to hope that, like I say, Freedman can continue doing what he did a couple of years ago when he brought in those players. And based off the links that we've had and obviously the fact that they're hopefully back in Glasner, yeah, I mean, I think that the squad looks good. And while the thing with clubs like us and Brighton and things like that is you have a good season, then you sell 2-3 players. And I think that of all clubs, Palace and Brighton will probably be the ones who could replace them the best.
Yeah.
So I would say that we're pretty confident on the squad going forward, really.
Yeah. Last of all, this is from @Odds on FPL, sorry, and he said, "You've had a lot of decent prospects in the academy over the years who haven't managed to make the transition to first team football. Why do you think this is?"
To be honest, I think it's the managers that we've had.
Yeah.
If you, like we discussed earlier, you look at Hodgson, Pulis, Pardew, Allardyce, Vieira a little bit, but none of them really were going to give youth products a chance. And also, I don't think our loan system has been good enough over recent years. Players have never really had good enough loans other than Raksaki at Charlton last year. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that the big reason is that they don't get good enough loans. And then we also have had dinosaur managers over the past couple of years who just never give youth products a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really interesting. Like, we're looking at Friedman's impacts on Palace, like how invested he is in the Championship. Sending players to the Championship, I think, can be almost looked over a little bit. But as a United fan, Amad Diallo thrived there.
Yeah.
And Wharton's come up from Championship. He's done brilliantly.
Yeah.
It cannot be overlooked at all in a player's development.
I agree.
Should be integral.
The one thing I would say is that in there's a group of like academy kids coming through who I think it's like under 18s right now. There will be 1 or 2, maybe even 3, 4 of them that end up playing at high level of football. A bit like Jake O'Brien is now at Lyon.
Yeah.
Okay. One final question from me.
Go on.
You've just built yourself a really good squad, and to be fair, it does look like a really good squad. You've gotten rid of some of the players who probably wouldn't be starting week in, week out, and you've brought in some young talent. Where does that squad for you finish in the league?
Head or heart?
Both.
Next season.
Yeah.
Heart, and also hope says Conference League or even like 1 or 2 places around that. Head says 10th because we're Palace and we're mid-table and we might have a good team, but we always end up mid-table.
I mean, a bit of optimism. Ever since Glasner came in, you finished 4th in the form standings.
Yeah.
So based off that, Champions League football
we beat
season.
some good teams. We beat some good teams and we beat them by high scores.
And you play some really, really good football. It's very, very nice to watch. It's really good football.
It's very un-Palace-like, but yeah, you are right.
Yeah. So, okay, not your squad, because let's face it, this is fantasy football we're playing on this podcast. The real Crystal Palace squad. What do you need this summer? Or what do you need other teams not to do this summer to get that European place that you so desperately want?
Yeah, I mean, what we need this summer is probably one sale and then the EZE and OLISE to end up staying.
Yeah.
But also what we need is if one of those or 2 of those go, then to be able to replace them with players that can come straight in, or maybe 1 or 2 players that have the potential to do it. But I just think if we end up relying on, say we bring in a young kid to replace OLISE, we end up relying on a young kid and he doesn't do it, I think it's a big gamble to take. So, yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, as OLISE stay. But yeah, I think we also need to sell one of the assets, probably Gay, in order to invest in the squad and push us up.
Okay. And do you think European football is achievable if you do lose EZE and OLISE? We're really putting you to the wire this podcast, mate. Sorry.
LA, just tell them, just say you want them to sell.
Give me a bit of context on who the replacements are.
The 2 you chose.
Okay.
So Sule was one
That's
of
a
them.
hard question. Yeah, Sule and Kamada's the one supposedly coming in. I don't know. I really don't know. Is that achievable without them? It's definitely less achievable without them. Because we know that they're going to hit the ground running. Yeah. Whereas there's new signings, we have no idea whether they're going to hit the ground running.
Okay.
Yes, it's hard for me to really say, but I would say it's probably not achievable without them.
Well, that's a lovely note to end the podcast.
Yeah, so in 3 months' time, if they've gone, then just know that I'll be sat there crying in my hands.
Oh, mate. Yeah, but to be fair, we'll be European champions at that point as well. So we'll have something to look forward to.
Hopefully.
The Irishman in the corner there shaking his head. Okay. Seb, thank you so much for helping us fix Crystal Palace. Really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Right, that's it. Thank you very much to Scott and to Alex. As always, thanks to Alfie, our producer. Please go and follow Seb on Twitter. It's Seb Foot. Your YouTube channel is Seb Foot as well. Your TikTok is...
Yes, all the same.
Amazing. Go and follow Seb. Don't forget to subscribe to us. Press the like button. And don't forget, in the comments, let us know what you would do for Crystal Palace. See you next week.